In today's video, let me show you how you can make your forms in Zoho Creator dynamic. By dynamic, I mean hiding fields you don't want your users to see, locking fields that you don't want your user to modify, setting values for your fields, and then modifying your subforms where you can show or hide the button used for new data entry or deleting existing entries. So why would you want to do this in the first place? Well, there are two main reasons. The first one is to protect your data, and the second one is to provide your users a better user interface. Because no one wants to go through a form that's 2 screens long, or no one wants to go through forms where some of the fields are just not relevant. And of course, you don't want your users to have access to data that is not meant to be for their eyes. I assume you're already familiar with Zoho Creator, this amazing online platform that allows you to build custom applications using their simple drag and drop interface. In case not, I recommend you watch my previous video where I explain how this can be done really easily by almost anyone. If you're building an application in Zoho Creator, you are always using 4 basic components. These are forms for data entry, reports to display your data, workflows, which are used for data processing, and then pages, which is, let's call them a custom interface. For today's video, we'll focus on 2 of them, forms and workflows. Forms are basically the foundation of any Zoho Creator application. Whenever you start a new application, most probably you will be starting with the form. Forms can be really simple, but over time they tend to go more and more complicated until you really need to find a way how to make them more manageable. Workflows give you a very wide variety of functions that range from really simple all the way to really complicated. I don't want to go too deep into this right now, so I will say that we'll be using form workflows. So these are workflows that allow you to modify your forms from the moment they are displayed on the screen for the first time, all the way until they are submitted and the data is saved inside the database. For better understanding, let me show you a simple form that I did for you. It's a tools catalog where you can add new tools and set some of the parameters for this tool. First, I will show you the form that's displaying all the data, all the fields, and then I will show you my sample workflows that will make it more manageable. Right after that, we'll go step by step and I'll show you how you can do this on your own. Here is our form, and these are the fields that are included here. It's the tool name, tool type, battery platform, fuel type, power supply, and mandatory review cycle. Let's stop here. So right here, you can probably see there are certain fields that are not going to be very useful for us because the tool either has a battery or it uses some type of fuel or it's plugged into the mains outlet if it's a Cordy tool. None of those will have all 3 at the moment. So whichever tool type we select, let's say electric, well, the fuel type and battery platform will be useless for us. If we select battery tool, okay, we can select which battery platform we use, but the remaining 2 will be useless again. Then the second part of the form, we have date of purchase, warranty, purchase price, and documents where we can upload some documents for the tool. Again, this is information that is important for us, but it will most probably be entered only the moment the tool is entered for the first time. Then we have a subform, which is for repairs. And then we have a checkbox that says this tool has been decommissioned. And for that reason, we will not show it in the catalog or whatever we decide to do with it. Now, let me edit this application. If you're not sure what's happening here, no worries. I'm just turning on all the workflows that I prepared before, so I can show you how the same form may look like after these couple workflows are enabled. Let's access the application. and go to the tools catalog and tool form. So right now, as you can see, we have the tool name. So let's say it's as a circular saw, and the tool type will be electric. Now, as you can see, the power supply is not relevant for us, so we will select, let's say, 400 volt, 16 amps, right? We also have the 2-year mandatory review cycle, which is set as a default value. Let's say 2 years are what's expected with most of our tools. And then we have the purchase information, so we can say it's been purchased today. The warranty is 2 years from today. It's easiest to be done like this. Purchase price was 1,500, and we will not be submitting any documents right now. Okay, I will hit submit. And now in the catalog, we already have 2, 3 tools, whatever. So this is the one we just entered. Let's say edit. Now you can see we can edit this first part. We can no longer edit the purchase information because we assume the purchase information has already been entered and should not be modified anymore. Before, if you remember, in the form, the repairs subform was not there. Of course, if you just buy a new tool, most probably you are not going to enter any repair yet, and of course you're not probably going to set it as decommissioned. Therefore, the subform for repairs and the checkbox for decommissioned is not displayed in this entry form. However, if you go to the catalog and you set anything to edit, now you can see the repairs subform. You can add new repair. We did this description, and the cost was 100 euros. So now we can add new repairs. We can change some things here. Probably not really necessary. We can modify this as well, and then you can hit update, and this will be edited. So here you can see that the original form wasn't really practical, and now it's more streamlined for the user. I'm not really saying this is the real life use case, but I'm setting this only as an example. Now let's go back to the editor, and I will show you step by step how you can set this all by yourself. Great. So we will be working only in the workflow part of the application. So to start with any workflow, you select the form in the left navigation, and then you simply hit the new workflow. Perfect. So again, you can modify if you have pre-selected the wrong one, but we'll stay in the tool. And then you have 4 options: create it, edit it, create it or edit it, and delete it. For today's video, we will focus on the first 3, which is create it, edit it, and then the combination create it and edit it. Again, you may ask, why not always use create it or edit it? There might be cases where you want to do something only when the record is created or only when it's edited. So in my previous example, I set some workflows only on the created, and that's, for example, removing the subform for repairs and the checkbox for decommission. Because while you only create the first record of the tool, you're most probably not going to set it as decommissioned. Then also for edited, I can select which fields will not be displayed or will be locked for the user to change them, because I'm expecting them to be already entered and not to be edited anymore. And then if I select create or edit, it's not really important if it's a new entry or addition of the existing entry. We'll simply always run it the same way. So for now, let's say create it or edit it. And I want you to just focus on this one because I don't want to get over your heads with all the options that are available. simply focus on the one that we're using right now. If you're a beginner, of course, if you're advanced, you're most probably very familiar with this and you know how to use this. But this video is geared more towards the beginners. So we will set field rules, nothing else than field rules. Then you can set the name. Here, it doesn't follow any naming convention, so you can name them by regular names. So this will be, I will call this show height example create workflow. Great. So this is the basic thing. We can modify it, changing the name, but we're not going to do that. And we can add the first action for this workflow. When we're working with field rules, it's all done by selecting your choices. So you are not programming anything. This is really, really basic, simple thing, accessible to anyone. So in the first row, we can choose if we want to run this always or on condition. If it's on condition, we can set some conditions under which this will happen. So if the tool type equals to battery, then I want to show fields and I can search, which is the battery platform. Perfect. So what this basically does is whenever the tool type is set to battery, we will show the field for battery platform, right? So I will just go here and again disable all the previous workflows that I did before so we can play with it and you can see directly what is the consequence of whatever we're built. So I can disable all of this. So here's our show height example, and we can go access this application and see what we have here. So we have the tool name, we have the tool type, fuel type, power supply, but what we don't see the battery platform. Once we select it's a battery tool, the battery platform is now shown. So it's better than it was before, but we have to be more thorough and set these fields for all three. So let's go back to editing. We go to tool and we go to our workflow. So you can see two things here. We only set that if the tool type equals to battery, we will show the field battery platform, right? You can edit it all anytime. And here's the interesting part. Zoho Creator is smart enough that you don't really have to set two different workflows, one for showing the field and the other one for hiding the field. It actually does this all in the one step. So now let's add two more actions. Again, this will be on condition. So if the tool type is or equals to electric, then we want to show the field called power supply. Perfect. And also on condition, if the tool type is equals to combustion, then we can show field fuel type, right? Perfect. Now let's close this and go back to the application. Now we open the tool and here you see it, right? We never told the application to hide those fields from the user, but the application already knows it should show the field, for example, battery type, only if the tool is of type battery, right? So electric shows us power supply. Manual shows us none of those, and combustion shows us the fuel type. So this is the very basic of showing and hiding fields for the user, right? You can set your conditions as complicated as you like, and based on them, you can show or hide fields. This already gives you much more decluttered forms and gives you much better user experience when filling in the form. Now, there might be cases where you want to show certain data to your user, but you don't want them to modify the data. So let's say we'll do one more form. This one will be Again, as so, it will be battery. Let's say Hilti. No, this will be default. Mandatory review cycle is 2. Date of purchase is today. Warranty is today plus 2 years, right? And the purchase price was 560. Let's hit submit. And now, if we go to the catalog and we open this saw that we just did, actually not Saya, but saw. Anyways, if we're editing this tool, we don't really want to have random users coming and changing the date of purchase or the purchase price or the warranty, but we still want them to see this information because it's somehow important for them. For these reasons, we are not going to hide the field. We are just going to disable it. In other terms, that's locking the field and not allowing the user to modify this field. So let's edit this application again. We select tools and we are making a new workflow. It will be on edited because for the first entry, we want to keep it all open, but for edited, we don't want the user to change it afterwards. And we'll use field rules, as I said, for all our workflows will be of the type field rules. And this is disable purchase information. Great. We create a workflow. And now let's add action. So now we are going to disable fields. And we're going to disable them always because regardless what's going on, we don't want the user to do this. So it's always and disable fields. And now it's really simple because we don't want the user to change the purchase date, the purchase price, and the warranty. Perfect. Done. Let's exit the application. And let's go to the tools form. So right now, I can enter the date, I can enter the warranty, I can enter the purchase price. Okay, hit submit. But if we go to the catalog and we edit any of the tools, now these fields are locked. So we can see we purchased the tool on September 20th for 560, but we are not able to modify this. And this is really useful for a wide variety of data that you want your users to see, but you don't want your users to modify. Most probably, this will be used only when created because you should be sure that if the user enters any data, once they edit it, this would change that value. So let's keep it only on created. Field rules again, and this is value entry, create workflow. And again, we can add new action. And we can do it always or on condition. So let's use this as a way to enter a default value. So I will set it for always, and I will set field value. I just select the field. Let's say mandatory review cycle in years, and I would say it's 2 years, right? So I hit save. So now, again, what this does, let's go back to access this application. And we are reopening the form tools. And now you can already see that in this field we have number 2. So that's practical up to a certain degree. Now you can do this also conditionally. So I will show you that one as well. So let's go to tools and let's create new workflow. This will be again only in created because we assume this is entered while it's created and not updated later on. It's field rules and this is custom review cycle, create workflow. Perfect. Let's add the first action, which is on condition if the tool type equals to electric, then we set value for a mandatory review cycle of 5 years, right? And then we can add new action, again, on condition, tool type equals to, we start with electric, so now we'll use battery. And for battery, we will set field of review cycle for 2 years. And then the last action on condition, tool type equals to combustion, and there we'll set the review cycle for 1 year. Yep. And save it. So as you can see, we have 3 different actions. Each one is executed only in certain condition. So if it's electric, then we have this value. If it's battery, we have this value. And if it's combustion, we have this value. Unfortunately, we cannot see the value that we have it set to, but we can always edit, and that way we can see that for combustion, this is set for 1 year. Perfect. Now let's go back to the application. And let's go to tools. So here you can see the mandatory review cycle is set to 2 years because we set it that way in the first workflow. But now we'll set electric and it changes to 5 years. We go to combustion and it's set for 1 year. And if we go to battery, it's 2 years again, right? Maybe we can add one more condition. Then if it's a manual one, we will simply set it to 0. So that can be done really easily. We go to workflow, tool, and we have this custom review cycle. And in the custom review cycle, we just add new action, which will be on condition tool type equals manual set field value, and let's set it to 0. We can have it like this. So now, yeah, most probably we would just disable this one, which is value entry. And if I disable it and go back to the application, yeah, now this is empty and we have to select electric or battery or combustion or manual. If we just delete it, it gets deleted. So this is a subform, and in the subform, you always, well, defaultly, you have the button to add new entry and also a button to delete an existing entry. There might be situations where you don't want the user to either delete existing entries or to add new entries. As an example for this form, whenever the tool is decommissioned, you don't want the users to add any new repairs. So let's go and set this workflow tool and new workflow. So this will be for edited, even though you can set it for created or edited, because yeah, it doesn't really matter in this case. So I'll just set it to edited. It's a field rules again, and this is pairs blocked if decommissioned, and let's create a workflow. So in this case, what we want to do is whenever a tool is decommissioned, there will be no chance to add new repairs, right? So we have to set the condition, which is decommissioned equals to true. So True means the checkbox has been checked. False means the checkbox is not checked. And he'll be using this show hide subform actions. Perfect. So we don't want to do any new entry, so we will hide the add entry button. This is the one. And of course, we have only one subform, repairs. So let's select repairs and save. So this is done. And let's go to our applications again. So as you can see, there is the add new button here. If we go and edit any of these, we still have the add new button. But the moment we check it's decommissioned, the add new button disappears. How much advanced you can do it, there's actually no limit how advanced and how much complicated you want to do this. But right now, this is again what we can do without code and without programming. So it's a simple way. It has certain limits for sure, but on the other hand, you can do most of the things that are needed to keep your form really pleasant for the user and to save the data that you don't want to show to the user or allow them to edit. I hope you like this video. I hope there's some value for you. Maybe I showed you something that you didn't know about before. And as I said, this is just the beginning. We can do much more using the code. And I will be making a new video soon that will show you how much more advanced you can go when using the code. For now, we can wrap this topic here. In case you want to see more videos like this, please subscribe to my channel and hope to see you with the new videos. Take care.